Another thing you should know about that time period is that Dee's responsible for as much like as I have for any country music. How we became friends is the owner of Solid State knew that we both lived in Carrollton and suggested that we commute. And she was way into country, and I remember saying to her, I'll ride with you, but I am not listening to that country crap. And she said, okay, here's the deal. When I drive, we'll listen to whatever I want, and when you drive, we'll listen to whatever you want. I said, okay, you're on. Well, at that time, a song came out called That Lovin' You Feeling. It's Bonnie Raitt and Roy Orbison, and it absolutely melted my heart. I could not get enough of it. So I started listening to her music stations, wanting to hear that song. And then got exposed to, and I'm like, it's not what I thought. In my head, country was this twangy stuff that my dad kind of liked, and I just wasn't interested, but this was beautiful crossover music, and I'm like, whoa, and then I got exposed to a lot of that kind of thing, and there were other songs that were like that I just couldn't get enough of, that I started listening a lot to it. Now, not to the exclusion of the other stuff. My favorite always has been, always will be classic rock and roll. That was my music that I grew up with, and it's the one that brings back all the memories. But I remember sitting in the car with Dee going, whoa, who are those people? And I got exposed to it. And what I have found about myself since then is that music's like learning another language, that once you get the language, all of it makes more sense to you. And so all different kinds of music can touch you. I'll never like all of any particular thing. Some things I have a particular aversion to, but not for the reasons you might think. I'm never going to like metal because I find it screechy, and so the range in which it plays is not appealing to me. I really have a thing for deep music and bass kinds of stuff, and redundancy is very annoying to me, and a lot of that music is redundant to me. Saying the same words over and over and over again to the same riff over and over is not musical to me. Doesn't mean that it isn't music, but it isn't for me. And it's the same way about jazz. I like some jazz a lot. Never to the level that Paul does. Some of it I just don't want to hear. And it is for the same kind of reasons. I don't relate to it. But I'm open, and I learned to like jazz in the same way. Paul and I were dating, and we'll go into a thing, and on his, I don't know if it was on his, if he had a CD of it or if it came on the radio or what, but Stanley Clarke is one of the world-famous bass players, and he did a version of something called All Blues. It's one of the most famous jazz songs ever, but it was his bass and a flute. And I don't want to hear it played by anybody else or in any other way, but the song absolutely touches my heart. It feels like a heartbeat to me. And again, because I couldn't get enough of that, I started listening to some other things and got exposed to a lot of music I never would have thought I would like.